is not far removed from being a top 5 cornerback in the NFL. You know, he can play man coverage on an island. That's what he's been doing. So it was a bold move, but one that I like.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Stephen St. John and Nate Bukaty with Jake Gutierrez. Today on the show, we'll talk to Kansas head football coach Lance Leipold. He was nice enough to move his day because normally he's on Tuesday, and that was the day after a Monday Night Football Chiefs game. And so we asked him, won't you join us on Wednesday? And he said yes. Mike Boddicker will be with us in the 7 o'clock hour. Mike Boddicker, one of my daughter's teachers at St. Pius, asked politely if Mike Boddicker would sign his Mike Boddicker card. Big fan of Mike Boddicker in the show. And I'm just realizing now that I forgot to get the card from Selena. So there you go. I hope in no way that will reflect your grade. I'm going to get it to you. I'm going to get it to you, Teach. All right.
You might be able to dig up a Boddicker card around here.
I know, but he has he has one
his own, yeah.
He gave it to sell, and just
we'll get it signed.
he had a lot going on.
We'll get it
He had
signed.
a doctor's appointment. We then I took Mr. Philip St. John. Boy, let me tell you, this guy was ready to roll. He sends a group text message. What's the plan for voting today? So I don't know what do you mean. We're gonna vote. And I wasn't thinking this was because he had voted in an election before, but this was his first presidential vote, and so that's always been a really big deal.
You always remember
to
your
me.
first one.
Well, unfortunately, a vote. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
No.
Right.
I don't actually. Do I? I do.
I think I remember mine.
I do. I think. Anyway,
I remember it didn't last. It didn't take nearly as long as I thought.
right. It never does. So and he was excited, and I said, well, I'm with your sister at a doctor appointment in OP, and so when we're done here, Mom's got to go do this, but and he was at work, and so I said I will text you. And we have a new place to vote. They moved us, and I said I'll meet you there, and and we'll go in together, take a picture. And he was fired up, and it fired me up that he was fired up. He dressed up for the occasion. He was very excited. He wanted to talk about the issues, and so then he went in there very proudly and voted. So that's a proud dad moment. And so then we got done, took our selfie, and then in Phil fashion, I'm a little hungry. Could I have a credit card? I said, you have money because you just came from your job. He goes, this thought you might want to buy me lunch.
Yeah.
This is my first presidential vote. I said,
Yeah.
It tastes better when you're buying.
I said, you know what, though? A for effort here.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Get you what you want. But if you go here, get me this also.
Right.
And bring it back to me. And so that was congratulations to Phil St. John. And they were out of I voted stickers. All they had was future voters. I took one of those, I don't know.
It's true.
Because I said I literally am a future voter.
Right. You'll
Well,
vote in the
hopefully.
future.
I'd like to be.
Good Lord willing.
Right. That's right. So it fits. So, there you have it. So we had a lot going on, and I forgot to get the Mike Boddicker card. So.
Well, something tells me you'll see Boddicker again.
Yeah. Mike, if you're listening, bring something. If you got anything special, maybe,
Oh, he's listening.
that I can pass along to a hardworking teacher at St. Pius that is a big fan of yours, please. Also, Gary Barnett will be with us to talk some college football. Matt Derrick from ChiefsDigest.com. And our friends Adam and Kyle from Boulevard Brewery. Let me tell you something, man. Last time I saw those fellas, it was the Creed Humphrey Protect Your Tailgate event to benefit Casey Pet Project, and it was a blast. And they did such a great job of hosting that event, and it was great to be there with Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith and Joe Tooney and Wanye Morris and Hunter Norzad. Really cool event that I emceed, and so and we took a tour. We had a special tour for some auction winners, a private tour of the brewery with Creed Humphrey and his awesome girlfriend. It was great, and Phil St. John, and so looking forward to seeing our guys from Boulevard and what they have in store for us in the 9 o'clock hour. And then Mike DePasquale, Mike's got this, Mike's got picks coming up at 9:30.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed out to miss on that part. The Boulevard guys and DePasquale.
You don't have to. Oh, no, you do.
I do. I have to.
I was going to invite you to stay or come back, but you got
I would love
something.
to stay.
Yeah. Can you say
I'm
where
headed to
you're going?
Lawrence,
Okay.
Kansas to interview Bill Self for the Jayhawker podcast. So I have to leave here a little earlier this morning. That's why I'm
important.
in early. Yeah, it is important. They got a big game against North Carolina coming up on Friday night.
Correct. You don't sound sure of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure of much these days. I believe it's at 6 o'clock on Friday. So
Lost in the shuffle of yesterday. I bet unless you're a Missouri fan, you didn't pay attention to it. And, I wish I had not paid attention to it. Missouri started their season off with actually a good opponent on the road. They played at Memphis, and they got out. I think they may have been up by as many as 14 in the first half, and they had a 13-point lead in the second half. Something they had done several times last year. Had a nice lead, and then absolutely collapsed down the stretch, and they did it again. They did it again. And Lebo had great fun with me as I watched.
yeah,
And down the stretch when it started to get iffy, he even asked me, "You want me to keep this on my iPad?" I just in my mind I was thinking, let the boy watch. You got to see it.
yeah.
You got like Clockwork Orange. You got to prop your eyelids open and you got to watch it. You got to see it, so I'll know.
I'm looking at the score here. Yeah,
Adjust my expectations. Go look at the win probability chart as it went through the game and tell me how that looked. And it's a different team, 11 different players, but it sure seemed like the same thing. And Trent Pierce was really, really good. And then he was shown the bench and didn't come back for a long time. And that's was very puzzling substitution patterns. And I was following Gabe DeArmond, and Gabe was mystified, and other people watching the game were mystified.
Let the boy watch.
And, it's like, well, there it is. Well, all right then. Thank you. Talk to you later. And then I watched the Chiefs. So that was good.
Bye-bye.
That was good that I had zero time to even think, because I even like the final couple of minutes, like, okay, we're done here. I don't need to see this through to the final buzzer. I'm good.
KU played Howard on Monday night. I didn't watch it live because I was watching the Chiefs game. So
Not
I watched
a lot
it.
you're gonna pull away from that,
Well, they put it on Howard.
Right. I mean,
Yeah, but there's so many new guys. I mean, and I know that's like an evergreen statement for every team in college basketball these days, but there's so many new guys. And I'm going to be doing a KU basketball game on the radio coming up in a couple of weeks. And I'm like, I need to be.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Filling in for Brian Haney. He's got a football game that night.
Trying to push him out?
No, God, no.
I'm not going to say anything if you are.
No, Brian's the voice of the Jayhawks. He's got KU football that night, so I get to fill in. It'll be fun, That'd be.
If there's
I'm
anyone
really
that
excited about it.
had the
Is Greg Gurley very excited
if
about
there's
it?
anyone
he's thrilled.
that had the gravitas to push Haney out, it'll be you.
Yeah. Is that right? You think
yeah.
so?
Well,
Oh
why
yeah, sure.
You'd be the guy
Yeah.
why not?
with both hands too.
Yeah.
Just giving him a big old shove.
No, Brian is a wonderful guy, and Brian is the voice of the Jayhawks.
That's what you would say if you're trying to shove someone out.
No, I'm right where I'm supposed to be. But I am excited to get to do that, and so I'm also like, man, there's so many new players on the team. They could shoot this year. Kansas couldn't shoot the ball at all last year. They brought in a bunch of guys that could shoot, and I'm excited about that. But we'll learn a lot more about Kansas on Friday, as you said. It's weird though having these games. Like, I guess, Gonzaga and Baylor played a heck of a game the other day, and the only reason I found out was because, not a heck of a game. Gonzaga blew them out. But I was like, it wasn't even on my radar. And then all of a sudden, a couple of my buddies were texting me about it. It's here, man. College basketball season's upon us. Anyway.
Well, and let me tell you.
Yes, sir.
We're not here to talk politics or election. We're going to – how about we talk some sports? Does that sound good?
Hey.
Yes.
But let me talk about the election for a moment. You can say whatever you want about me. I really don't care, okay? But I was up at 2 in the morning refreshing results, trying to find out if sports betting was going to pass in Missouri. Because that affects me in many ways. All right? My job and also my recreational life. I don't like getting in the car on Sunday morning and going to find some random parking lot on the other side of the state line, just so I can get my parlay in.
So you can get some props in.
Just so I can get some props in. I don't like waking up on a Sunday morning and thinking, you know what? I think Kelsey's good for over 6.5 catches.
Better get in my car.
Let me get in my car. Where are you going?
Kansas.
I
I'll be
gotta
right back.
go. Who wants breakfast? I'm gonna go.
Right, yeah.
Get some taquitos.
Yeah, I'm gonna. When will we be
There's
back?
a quick trip a lot closer, Dad.
2 hours or something.
There's been a lot of people crossing the state line to do business over the past couple years for a lot of reasons, both ways.
Yeah. And I'm not in the business of projecting or whatever. I'm just telling you what I got here.
You got numbers?
I got raw numbers.
That's all we're reporting. We're just reporting the numbers.
As I and I know one time Susan got pissed off. It was like 2 in the morning, and I'm over there refreshing John R. Ashcroft, Missouri Secretary of State's website with voting results. Like, refresh. Oh, more precincts reported. I'll do it again right now. And and some people don't care, but I would like to think
If you're listening to this show,
that there's a few people
you
out there
probably care.
listening that care a little bit.
Yeah.
Some of you might care a lot. And this is the latest that I have. Oh, I got a final. I just updated. There were 2 precincts that hadn't reported, and now I got 3,572 precincts of 3,572 precincts. To me, I call that 100% of the precincts. Huh? You gonna argue that?
that's complete.
I didn't study that.
You didn't take that statistics class?
I did have to take a statistics class, actually.
Well, then you did study that.
For Constitutional Amendment 2.
Amendment 2.
All right?
This is the state Second Amendment.
Yes votes. 1,000,000 469,866.
Yes.
No votes. 1,462,380.
Wow.
Yes gets 50.128% of the vote. No gets 49.872% of the vote. And I'm looking through here, breaks it down by counties. Jackson County, it was over 110,000 to 79,000 in favor of yes. Kansas City, 78,474 to 43,000. St. Charles, 118,000 to 103,000. St. Louis, 263,000 to 229. I mean, it's close throughout. Let's see here. Greene County, 78,000 to 63,000 in favor of no. Where the hell's Greene County at? What are you doing? Why are you doing that to me? What's wrong with you? Stop that. I don't know all my counties.
You don't know every county?
But Greene County didn't want it. But Greene County, guess what? You're going to get it.
Greene County, Springfield.
Why, you son of a gun.
Springfield.
They don't want you betting down there.
No.
You know?
It's close to Branson. They don't want people gambling down in Branson.
I don't know. Did the what's wrong with you?
I don't know. I just looked up Greene County. It's Springfield.
I mean, can I call it? It says all the. This is the official website.
Well,
it says all the precincts.
I don't know.
Cite the website.
Yeah. I don't know that you're in a position of authority to call it.
It's the Missouri Secretary of State, the official.
If they're
website.
on the
Secretary
website.
of State might be.
Well, that's
calling
just
it.
a report. They don't declare a winner. It shows you the results.
Well, if all the votes are in, then I think you can say it's, I don't know what you can say.
Isn't that one of those ones
I
that's
don't
so
know what I
close
can
that
do.
they got to recount because it's within the margin for
no
error?
recount. It's done. I've declared no recount.
The final.
No.
Final.
What if I don't want to
This-
recount?
Steven's
does
like
my vote
Steven's
not
like
matter?
Steven's like the referee when the fans are charging the field.
Nope.
There's 3
Yep,
seconds left
yep,
on the clock.
fire,
I'm out of here. Game over. We're not replaying the 4th down. It's it.
I'm good.
Hey man, congratulations. You could.
Hide the money, y'all. There's poor people.
You gotta. Congrats on not having to drive over to Kansas.
Well, we'll
to
see. Now you
do
guys got
business.
me second guessing everything.
Well, I'm second guessing everything in the world. I don't know anything.
Susan's like, it's 2 a.m. What are you doing? So I'm trying to find out if gambling has passed. If gambling on sports has passed in Missouri. I'm sorry if I woke you up. I apologize. I'll refresh quieter.
There's worse things you could be doing at 2 a.m.
Yeah. Well, sleeping wasn't one of them.
No.
Yeah.
There you go.
That says unofficial results, but I mean, what
That's
else?
the unofficial results.
What can I do?
That's what you can do.
Those are the raw numbers from the actual website.
Hope it sticks if you're in favor of that.
Boy, it's close, though, isn't it?
Whew. Doesn't get much closer than that.
That's right down to the wire. All right. So there's your update. Trying to keep you updated. You want news on all the other issues? You can go seek it out.
Google it.
Right.
Duck, go it.
Mm-hmm. They were trying to put a riverboat in someplace. Where was that at?
In a river?
No, but down by
smart ass.
Yeah, down down Lake of the Ozarks.
Oh, really?
Like another place to go gamble. I don't know how that did. I was more concerned about,
For the schools, right? It's going
That's
to benefit the
right.
schools, the
Sure,
kids. It's always for the kids.
Everything I do is for my damn kids.
That's right.
You know, every parlay I come up with for my kids, in hopes that it pays off.
That's
All
right.
That's exactly
For you
right.
kids.
We'll take a break. We'll talk to Lance Leipold after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Welcome back to New Day with SSJ on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Stephen St. John, Nate Bukaty, Mr. Jake Gutierrez, now joined by Coach Lance Leipold. Coach, good morning. Thank you for being flexible with your schedule, and we appreciate you coming on and spending a little bit of your Wednesday morning with us.
Well, good morning, gentlemen, and no problem. I understand the need to be flexible, and glad we're back together.
You know, and again, I know we're here to talk about Kansas football in your program, but I mean, this it's also for anyone that loves football. It's pretty damn cool to be in Kansas City right now, watching a team that has not lost since last Christmas, and again, they did it on Monday Night Football again. It's that I don't know, and I'm not saying there's any direct correlation between the popularity of the Chiefs and how it feeds into college football, but I mean, it sure is fun to talk about football, and it makes it a lot of fun to have the Chiefs who just every week find a way to win.
It sure is, and it's a credit to that organization, of course, Coach Andy Reid and his staff, because you know, teams evolve and change, and as everything goes, and they continue to plug in pieces and make additions, and those people have come in and contributed, and you can really see that happening in such a highly competitive market. But what it also does, I think, Stephen, I would say is many times we talk about culture, and expectations, and you can see what a winning professional sports team, and would it be the Royals or the Chiefs, what it does really to a community in an area, and the vibe and really people's day-to-day attitudes. And that's sometimes the great benefit of what sports and college athletics can also be a part of.
Lance Leipold is our guest, and Coach, wanted to ask you just about, you know, what's going on in the Big 12 now, because as soon as we think, okay, we've got some things figured out, then we find out that we really don't. And you are hosting Iowa State coming up at Arrowhead Stadium at 2:30 on Saturday. Everyone can listen to the game right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. But Iowa State at home, they lose a nail-biter to Texas Tech, who's a really good football team. And then Kansas State, they go on the road, and they lose a nail-biter to Houston. And it's just, this conference is so wild and unpredictable, and I know you've had your share of close games and nail-biters. That's a lesson, though, isn't it, that any given week, any team in this conference can beat any other team, and that was a lesson, again, we were reminded of on Saturday.
Yes, absolutely. I think we've talked about it most of the season. We've talked about it since Media Day. I think the head coaches in our conference have been very aware of it, starting probably well over a year ago, that the competitiveness from top to bottom in this conference is something that probably isn't seen in any other conference across the country. That the matchups will kind of can be compared to a lot of different things. It could be going on the road after a big game. It could be weather delays. It could be just how you match up. There's a lot of things that go into it. And, you know, I think I might have said it at Media Day that, you know, we were a team that kind of came out of nowhere a couple of years ago and you know, made some things happen. And I said there was going to be some of those teams this year. And I think we'll see it every year in the Big 12, that somebody will come out of nowhere to make noise in this thing. And whether it be a Texas Tech team, an ever-improving Houston team, it could be what BYU has done from where they were at in preseason predictions to being in the college football playoff rankings right now. It makes it exciting, and I think, you know, parity across college football from schools maybe 10 through 40 in the nation are going to be very closely matched.
I mean, I'm telling you, Coach, I look at the schedule and I look at every game and I go, well, that one's going to be worth watching, you know, and that's the same for you guys as well. And now you're coming off another bye week. We had a chance to talk to you going into the bye week a little bit about this weird schedule quirk that I understand has a little bit to do with the fact that Labor Day came earlier this year than normal, but Now that you've had your 2 bye weeks, what maybe were the biggest benefits? If even if it was something that you wouldn't normally want to schedule on your own, what was the biggest benefit of having this second one?
Well, I think we'll probably have a better comment on that probably after see how we play this weekend. But I think the one thing is that at this time of the year, your bumps, your bruises, the guys who are limited in practice, things that you're really counting on, that list gets longer and longer as you try to get things. If you do lose guys who are going to step in for replacement, you get extra practice time. You get a chance. Devin Neal got banged up in the early part of the Kansas State game. We were able to give him quite a bit of rest last week. Guys like that have gone through a lot of snaps, we can limit a little bit, try to get the bodies feeling better. I think that's probably the biggest thing that we can do. And, of course, keep working on things that we have to get better at.
And so I remember after the first bye week, you said that you didn't get as healthy as you hoped to. Do you feel like you're in better position now? How's the health of your team after this second bye week?
I think we're, it is what it is, so to speak, as they say. I think we know guys who will be available at this time. It's also a time of year when anytime a guy goes down during practice, you kind of hold your breath because you don't know if something else is going to be added to that injury list. But I think we'll be in pretty good shape considering where we are at this time of the year for Saturday's game.
So you've got Iowa State, and they were undefeated until that loss to Texas Tech, and that game, as I said, came right down to the wire. When you take a look at this Iowa State team that'll be traveling to face your squad at Arrowhead Stadium coming off that loss, tell me what stands out to you about them after watching them on film.
Well, again, Matt Campbell and his staff has done an outstanding job. Matt's well respected, one of the better coaches in the country. You can see, they've been a program a few years ago that many people talked about as a top program. They kind of had an off year. Everybody kind of forgot about them, and Matt's done a great job building that program back last year, and as we said, still has them rated in the top 25 right now. They're well disciplined, well coached. They're the least penalized team in the Big 12. They're second nationally in that. They penalty yards and things like that. So they don't beat themselves. They lead the Big 12 in interceptions, and so again they win turnover battles. They're one of the better defenses, lead the league in scoring defense right now. So running the ball, their concepts are one that they don't want to give up big explosive plays. You've got to be able to drive the ball consistently against them, which is always difficult. Offensively, I think they've got a really fine quarterback in Rocco Beck who doesn't beat you. He doesn't beat himself, I should say. Makes great decisions. They have 2 fine receivers that they work to get the ball to. As good a tight end crew as you'll see. They play 4 different tight ends and give you a lot of different looks. And they have 3 running backs that kind of share the load. That 2 of them are more physical downhill runners, and then a young man by the name Jalen Jackson, who's a transfer from Eastern Michigan, who's kind of that change of pace back that can make you miss. So it'll be a big test for us. I know they'll be ready to get back on track because they have a lot to play for. It's still in the conference championship race and a chance to be in the college football playoff.
Coach, to go back to focusing on your team for a minute, looking back to as far as the Arizona State game 3 games ago, it seems, looking at the numbers and just watching the games, like your offense is finding its footing and things are starting to click a little bit. Do you feel that way? I mean, how do you feel about where your offense is now compared to maybe the start of the season?
Yeah, I think we put together three solid performances offensively. I think those have been Jalen's best 3 games. Again, we've got to cut down on turnovers at key moments that hurt us in the last game in Manhattan. But I would have to agree with you, Nate, that we've probably put together our 3 best offensive games in a row here, and hopefully that's something we continue to build on. Because when you do have, kind of goes back to Steven's question about the off week and what that could do is when you are playing well in certain areas, you don't want to lose that momentum that you have, and that's one thing that we're concerned about coming out of these 2, that we do feel we have some offensive rhythm right now. We want to make sure we continue that.
On the defensive side, I know we've already discussed the fact that you've had some injuries. It seemed like the safety position's one of those areas in particular where you really got hurt by injuries and had to start playing some young guys that maybe in a perfect world would have been gaining experience, not in games quite yet. But how are they coming along, and how do you feel about that position group right now?
Well, I think it continues to evolve and get better. I think Taylor Davis is one of those that has started some games now as a redshirt freshman. He continues to get better. I think he's a young man, has a bright future. He continues to learn. Devin Dye's been out for the last few weeks. He has returned to practice, and hopefully we'll have him available in some capacity. His brother, Jalen Dye, had surgery yesterday and will be lost for the rest of the season, unfortunately. So, and then Mason Ellis, a young man who's been banged up in a couple different areas, is still in the questionable area after re-injuring an ankle this week in practice. So it continues to evolve a little bit. Caleb Purdy's a young man who's from St. Louis for us that's also getting some playing time. And again, it's who's ever available we got to go with. But I know they'll be ready and excited to play.
All right, Coach, before we let you go, I asked you about the physical condition of your team. What about the mentality? Look, anyone that's watched your teams sees there's no quit, and you're in all these games and they're playing hard and they're bought in. Having this bye week right now, still having a chance to chase bowl eligibility. How do you feel that we've talked about the leadership over the course of the season and where their heads are? How do you feel that their mentality of the team is as they head into this final stretch?
Well, as we've said multiple times, Stephen, as we know, this season's been disappointing and frustrating for a lot of people, fans especially. It's frustrating and disappointing inside the walls of this building. But at the same time, this group continues to work and stick together. I can't tell you how proud I am of them because of this work ethic. Again, they do see things to play for. And again, at the end of the day, we always talk about you got to be able to look in the mirror and ask yourself if you've done the very best you can today and make a better version of yourself will ultimately make us a better football team. And we continue to emphasize controlling what you can, and that's our attitude, our effort, and our daily preparation. And I think our guys have done that, and they'll be excited for kickoff on Saturday.
And you can listen to the game, as I said, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 2:30 kickoff. Coach, as always, thanks for the time and good luck on Saturday.
Appreciate it, guys. Great to be with you. Have a great rest of your week. Rock Chalk.
That's Coach Lance Leipold, who joins us every week. Wednesday this week, because Tuesday we were locked in on Chiefs postgame after the late Monday night overtime thriller, Chiefs beating the Bucks 30-24. But look, Kansas has a chance to be one of those teams like we saw Texas Tech this past Saturday and Houston making a big impact in this Big 12 race, because when you look at their schedule coming up, they get Iowa State, they play at BYU, they still play Colorado coming up at Arrowhead, and each one of those teams is going to go in with this must-win mentality that, hey, for their to continue their hopes of making it to the Big 12 title game, they got to win. And we've seen, again, anything could happen. Who had Houston winning at home over K-State?
Not me.
Who had Texas Tech going to Iowa State and winning?
Not me.
All right? I whiffed on both of those, and so it's a reminder, especially in the Big 12, anything can happen. It's wild, and we'll see what happens. I expect a really, really good game on Saturday between Kansas and Iowa State at Arrowhead Stadium. Back into this on WHB.
27 is the only hotel in the Power and Light District, just steps from T-Mobile Center. Find them online at PresidentKansasCity.Hilton.com. The Hilton President's Hotel, the official hotel of New Day with SSJ.
This is New Day with SSJ.
Welcome back to New Day with SSJ. We got Mike Boddicker in here. Mike, you have to deal with a little football talk before we get into some baseball.
No, I like the football talk. I love the football talk. Woo-hoo.
Now, it's just a question. I know my answer. I'll ask Jake, and then I'll ask Nate. Yesterday, we were discussing the possibility, and I don't know how, whether it was realistic or not, that the Chiefs could acquire Pro Bowl corner Marshawn Lattimore from the Saints. And there's no doubt they were in it. There's no doubt they talked to the Saints about it. But at the end of the day, unwilling to meet their demands, while a very aggressive team, Washington, and I love the move for Washington. You got this window right now. You could take on money. That's what happens when you got a rookie quarterback or a quarterback on a rookie contract that looks like he's good enough to make some noise in the postseason. Go out and get you some veteran help. And so the Commanders, the 7-2 Commanders, by the way, traded a 3rd-round pick and a 4th-round pick in 2025 and a 6th-round pick in 2025. So a 3rd and a 4th and a 6th for Lattimore and a 2025 5th-round pick. So if you hear that, and that's what the Chiefs had to give up, and we don't have to go as deep as the 5th and 6th swap, whatever else. If it's just a 3rd-round pick and a 4th-round pick, the Chiefs called the Saints. What do you want? We want a 3rd-rounder or we want a 4th-rounder? What's your answer?
No. My answer is no. It doesn't make any sense to give up the 3rd-round pick that you got for L'Jarius Sneed, turn around and give that up for a rental of Lattimore. It doesn't make any sense. Maybe a 4th. I think 4th is. That's about as steep as I would have wanted to go. But a 3rd and a 4th.
I'm with you.
And and I said yesterday they were looking for a 1st or 2nd day pick. And that's what they were holding on, and they got it. And it is a great move for the Commanders, who he automatically becomes the best corner on that team. Right? If he would have come here, he would have been the 2nd best corner. We have McDuffie. So it's like there's not the dire need for the Chiefs that the Commanders have at that position. There is a need, absolutely, but not nearly as dire as the Commanders. And good for them. I mean, they're making a run at it, and they should.
I think that's a trade that you got to make if you're the Saints. That's a trade that you got to make if you're the Commanders. It's not a trade that you got to make if you're the Chiefs.
That's right.
It would have been nice to get him, but I get it. I understand.
The Chiefs have done incredible business during the course of this season, bringing in players that they need on what was already a tight budget. And I think they're doing a wonderful job of managing, going for it each year that they're in it without sacrificing the future, because this window is going to be open as long as Patrick Mahomes is here. And you don't want to put yourself in a situation where just to go it for this 1 year, you're making it even harder for the future. And they're doing a great job of that. Look at them. They're undefeated.
What?
They haven't lost yet, Steven. I don't know if you've seen that.
He's still working on the Missouri vote for gambling.
He's counting on my hand.
I'm just trying to make sure we get official results here.
That's it. That's all
right.
Yeah.
Trying to cross all the T's.
When he went, what?
I's.
I went, yeah. He's still looking that up. Yeah.
Yep.
Just
Okay.
Hey, we're talking about advertising dollars. We're talking about endorsement dollars. We're talking about
not having to drive across state lines.
Yes, not having to go and sit in the parking lot of Piper High School. And, what? No, not me.
We used to do some things in the parking lot of Piper High School back in the day.
There's that weird man with a beard again. Why is he always there screaming at his phone? Yes.
Chiefs already got a top 5 defense,
Yeah. There's an article at ESPN Plus from Ben Solak The winners and losers of the trade period. Number one winner, the Kansas City Chiefs. He says it's easy to call them winners after their performance Monday night against the Bucs with DeAndre Hopkins catching 8 balls for 86 yards and a couple of touchdowns. But they're winners because of that. And you see how wonderfully he's going to fit into this offense. And also they say that Joshua Uche, the ex-Patriots pass rusher, he'll likely be a designated pass rusher in the edge rotation. He only played 9 snaps Monday night. 7 of them were on third down. His role will expand. And you'll see that adding pass rushing depth will be a good move down the stretch for the Chiefs. That'll work out. The Chiefs did good business, didn't give up very much. You don't have to cringe at all thinking about what they gave up for DeAndre Hopkins or Uche, and they got 2 players that will clearly help them down the stretch, and one of them that really is helping transform the entire offense.
Yeah.
In DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah. My wife screamed the other night. She goes, "Did you see that catch? Did you see? How did he catch that?" I'm going, "That's what he does."
Yeah. My wife screamed the other night for a totally different reason. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, she said she was mad at you.
Yeah. Commercial break after this on WHC.